Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Coder's Code. If you're new here, hi, I'm Dua, and if you're not, welcome back to another tutorial. Up until now, we've been exploring the world of Scratch, building games, and having fun without even touching real code. Today, we're taking the next big step. We're diving into the world of Python, one of the most popular and beginner-friendly programming languages out there. And to kick things off, we're going to create something simple but really fun. A rock, paper, scissors game. We'll start by learning how to get input from the player, how to make decisions with if statements, how to use while loops, and how to make the computer pick a random choice. By the end of this video, you'll have your own Python game that you can actually play and even show off to your friends. So if you're ready to level up from scratch to real world coding, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Alright, before we jump into coding real quick, you might notice that I'm using something called Jupyter Notebook. It's basically a tool that lets you write and run Python code in small pieces inside a web browser. It's really great for beginners because you can see your results instantly and it's super easy to follow along step by step. But don't worry, you don't have to use Jupyter Notebook if you don't want to. You can follow along just as easily using other editors like VS Code or PyCharm. Both are amazing for Python and they let you run full programs just like we'll be doing here. No matter what you're using, Jupyter Notebook, VS Code, PyCharm, the Python code we're writing today will work exactly the same. Alright, with that being said, let's dive in and start building a rock, paper, scissors game. Okay, to get started, let's import the random module. The reason for this is so that the computer can pick between three choices, rock, paper, and scissors randomly. So type in import random. As you can see, import has become highlighted. This is because the word import is a keyword. A keyword is a very specific word that has been defined by the system developers, in this case, the programmers who developed Python. There are two types of functions when it comes to programming, inbuilt and user-defined. Inbuilt functions are the ones that are essentially made by the system developers, and the user-developed functions are the ones that are made by us. In this case, import is a keyword, so it is developed by the system developers. You can also type in a comment by typing in a hashtag like this, and any sentence you want after it, with and without spaces. For example, this is used to import the module random. Comments are used by system developers and the programmers in order to access and read their code way more clearly. For example, I wrote a code 2 years ago and I just opened it. I won't be able to understand anything unless I have commented on it previously. It is also not executed by your computer, so when you run this program, you won't see this is used to import the module random. Okay, now we need to list the three options that the computer can select from. In order to do this, we have to create a list. So type in options, which is the name of our list, equal to, in order to type in a list, click on the square brackets key on your keyboard, and the other one will most probably automatically come. And because rock, paper, and scissors are strings, you have to put in double quotes. So rock, and each entity or element is separated by a comma. Paper, scissors. I'll just comment here. In order to create a new cell in Jupyter Notebook, you have to click on Shift Enter in your keyboard if you're on Windows, or Shift Return if you're on a Mac. Okay, now we want to print in a welcome message. So for that, we can type in print, welcome to the rock, paper, scissors game. Okay, now a cool thing about the program that we will be making is that we will ask the player if they want to play again at the end of each game. So in order to do that, we have to create a variable called play again, which will act as a boolean. And for now, we are going to set play again to true, because right now we're going to assume that the player does want to play again, and at the end of one iteration of the game, we will ask them, do you want to play again? And then if they type in no, we will set this variable to false, and the game will stop completely. I will come to that later, don't worry about it now. So play again, play underscore again equal to true, and while play underscore again, colon. So whatever is going to come below this while loop, that will execute as long as play underscore event is true. The reason we don't have to type in equal to true is because play underscore again is already true. We don't have to type in equal to true. So essentially what you're reading is while true, then whatever comes below it will execute. Okay, so player, now we have to ask the player if they want to choose rock, paper, or scissors. So for that, I'm going to call the variable player choice, and we are going to ask them for their input. Now, unlike Scratch, we don't really have a block called what's your name and another variable called answer, but we have a keyword called input, which will enable us to get input from the user. So choose rock, paper, scissors. Now, what if some of our players type in rock like this and the others type in rock like this, and some of them type in paper, all lowercase? So how do we make a definite answer? How do we convert everything to lowercase, everything, or even everything to uppercase, and make sure that the case is uniform for all the letters? We can do that with a built-in string function called .lower. I will explain this when my Python series starts, which will basically be a full-blown introductory series to how Python works and basically everything you need to know about it. And I will be posting more information about that, so you don't really have to worry about it right now. So I'll explain the importance of .lower. You'll see it eventually, and I will again briefly mention about it then as well. So .lower, and now we also want to know the computer's choice, right? So computer underscore choice, another variable, equal to. Now remember I told you that import random, this random module has a bunch of coding lines that we cannot usually type unless we have imported this module. One of those is random.choice, and then in brackets you have to type the list from which it should choose from. So this is a built-in line that is only available in the random module. Okay, now we want the user to be aware of the user's choice as well as the computer's choice. So we'll print both of these out. So you choose. Now how do you put in this variable over here? You do that using something called formatting. So you can do that by typing in an F and also typing in a, two curly braces, and within that type in player underscore choice. So this is basically a code, a syntax. The F over here and these curly braces are compulsory. So you can't exactly do this without either of those two important factors. Now over here we've printed welcome to the rock, paper, and scissors game. So our cursor will basically end over here. Directly after this is printed, it will ask choose rock, paper, or scissors in the exact same line. It won't move to the next line. So in order for our cursor to move to the next line, we have a special key, or rather a special syntax called \n. Okay, we call these tokens, by the way, literals, the data types, etc., etc. I'll come back to that again in my future videos. And this is one of that. This is specifically called an escape sequence, and \n basically enables your cursor to go to the next line. You can also put in a \n over here. You have to. And again, we've printed out the player's choice. Let's print out the computer's choice. Curly braces, computer underscore choice. Okay, now we have to start with our if statements. So basically now what we have to do is we have to check if the computer choice and the player choices are equal. Then we have to check which one is rock, which one is paper, and then we have to type in the different combinations in which the player wins and the different combinations in which the computer wins. So let me go ahead and explain that to you. But firstly, let's check if both of these choices are equal. In order to do that, let's type in if player underscore choice equal to computer underscore choice and a colon, because that is the syntax. Now you may ask, hey, why are we using two equal to's over here and one equal to over there? So the difference is that the single equal to is an assignment operator. So what this is doing is that whatever the user is inputting over here, this value is assigned to the variable player choice. However, over here, this is checking if player choice is equal to computer choice. It's basically comparing the two variables, and this one is assigning a value. If I were to type double equal to over here, then they would basically compare the input and the player underscore choice. It wouldn't assign that value. So now if the two of them are equal, we want to print it is a tie. Okay, now what if we want to compare the other answers? What if the player chooses rock, and what if the computer chooses scissors? What do we do then? Will it still come as it's a tie? No, that won't be the case because they're not equal, like I said before. And so in order to add in new conditions, you have to use if, okay? You can just keep typing if, because that will take up lots of time. So to save time, basically we're given an option to type in if. We can check if player underscore choice equal to rock, and we're going to list down cases in which the player will win. So the player will win if we choose rock and the computer chooses scissors. If we choose paper, the computer chooses rock, and if we choose scissors and the computer chooses paper. So we have to list all of this, and we have to do it in the form of computerized language. So if our choice is rock and the computer choice is scissors, so what is and over here? And falls under something known as logical operators. So basically this whole statement is a boolean, right? And if this entire part is true, then only will it execute the next few lines after this colon, which hasn't come yet. So and over here will check if both of these conditions are true. If this condition is true and this condition is true. So it will only execute if both of them are true. If this is true and this is false, it will not it will become false. The entire statement will become false. If this is false and this is false, the entire statement becomes false. And if this is false and this is true, the entire statement becomes false. Because and only works if the two of them are true. So now we have to type in or. Or can be used, if I were to type or over here, then only one of these conditions is required to be true. So if this is true and this is false, the entire statement will be true. If this is false, that is true, the entire statement will be true. And again, if this is true, the entire statement will be true. There's actually a table for that, and again, I will explain that in another video. So or, and now we're going to type in a backslash because we have to list in all the different types of combinations, right? So in order to successfully list all of them first, we need to type in a backslash, and it also makes your code look more readable. Player choice, you can just type it over here. Player underscore choice is equal to paper, and computer underscore choice equal to rock. Or player underscore choice equal to scissors, and computer underscore choice equal to paper. And then you can enter a colon. Okay, and if this is the case, then print you win. Okay, so now what if we reverse the computer underscore choice and the player underscore choice? So does that mean we have to type in all of this all over again, except this time we have to reverse the two? No, we don't. We have another keyword called else. It will print out whatever you put below over here after the colon if none of these are true. So if this is not true, if this is not true, then we'll come to this and it will print whatever is underneath over here, which in this case will be you lose. So we don't have to type this all over again, because if there's any other condition, it will fall under this else statement, which means we lose. Another thing you'll notice is this indentation, which is extremely important because unlike Java and several other languages, we don't have the facility to use curly braces or other sort of brackets to distinguish between what is inside the while loop, what is inside the if statement, the elif statement, etc., etc. Because of that, the computer should automatically indent several statements. This is what you call an indentation. This is what you call an indentation. This is what you call an indentation. And indentation is so important in Python. Okay, so now that this is done, remember I told you at the end of each game, we will ask the user if he or she wants to play again. And remember we created this variable? Yep, now it's time for that. So we're going to create a variable called answer, and we're going to ask the user by entering a input over here and ask the user, do you want to play again? Again, we will convert it to lowercase. I also mentioned I would explain something about this as well. So if you typed in dot uppercase over here, all these inputs have to be in uppercase. So you have to type capital rock, capital scissors. All of them have to be in full capital letters. You can't just type in rock like this. You have to type in rock like this. You can't type it like this. It has to be like this. Rock. If this is upper. But since we put lower, we can just type it all in lowercase. So do you want to play again? Yes or no. Dot lower. And if the answer is not equal to yes, that is the user typed in no, I do not want to play again, then obviously we have to set play underscore again to false, because then only will this loop break. So play underscore again equal to false. And we want to print in, thank you so much for playing. And there we go. This is the end of our program. And I hope you guys understood everything over here. If not, comment down below and I will do my best to answer your queries. And if you have any doubts, you can just type it in the comment section below, because this time I'll be enabling all comments. Okay, let's test this out. One more thing, you want to put it in the next line like this. Like, don't type everything all at the same line. That won't work, especially because we've put in 2 backslashes. So the whole reason of putting, I just forgot to put in the next line, the whole reason of putting backslashes over here is so that this error does not come. Okay, so choose rock, paper, and scissors. I'll type in rock, and oh, the computer also chose a rock, and so it is a tie. Let's play again. Yes. Do I want paper? Yep. And I chose paper. Oh, okay. Probably rock. Yes. Oh. See, it says thanks for playing because I didn't type yes completely. Okay, let me just type in paper. Okay, I chose paper. The computer chose rock, so clearly I win. And do I want to play again? Nope, not this time. And thank you so much for playing. Alright guys, that's this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and comment down below if you have any questions and I will try my best to answer. Just click on that subscribe button, like, share with your friends if you want, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!